So I've recently realised that I am autistic. Now this has been coming for a while because we are in the process of getting my son diagnosed with autism, and I've obviously been doing a hell of a lot of research, and it has been staggeringly obvious now that I am also autistic, and that's been quite a lot to come to terms with actually, and apparently it's really common when children get a diagnosis, that often the parents, particularly the mother, tends to realise or find out that she's also autistic, because women are so misdiagnosed, underdiagnosed. I don't know what the correct word is, but it usually in society people think of autism as a young boy who, you know, maybe is non-verbal, has trouble communicating, or is like rocking or banging their heads on things or whatever, and of course autism can present like that in some people, but as I've found time and time again as I've been reading and researching, is that when you've met one autistic person, you've met one autistic person, and that's why it's a spectrum, because everyone is so different and everyone's struggles are completely different, and they may overlap somewhat, but everyone is unique, and it's really is quite a revelation, but what it has done is it has made me, after the initial kind of realisation and I suppose, if I'm honest, sort of like grief and sadness, because I felt so sad for the younger me, and the younger me who went through so many things, whether other people realised it or not, so many internal things that I couldn't understand and didn't know why things were happening to me. And me personally, as a younger woman, I got into so many situations, dangerous situations, that I, speaking about them now as an older woman, couldn't understand, and I still can't understand why or how I got into those situations and why I put up with it. Because if someone else was coming to me with those stories, I'd be like, what did you do that for? Why did you go there? Or why did you even put yourself in that situation? But at the time, I didn't even realise it was dangerous. I just went with it. I was so eager to please and so wanting to be, you know, involved and liked, that I just went with it. And it's only now, as I'm realising as an older person that I am autistic, that, oh, okay, yes, I understand now why I couldn't see the dangers and why I couldn't understand the social cues and why I was in those situations in the first place. So it's been a real revelation, and I at some point will go for a formal diagnosis. In the UK, the waiting list is huge. It can take anything up to 3.5 years to be diagnosed, even have an assessment. So I'm not going down that line on the NHS, and privately it costs thousands. So our priority is our son, and not myself. My husband's also autistic, yeah, the diagnosis will have to wait. But for me, even the self-diagnosis has just made a huge difference in my life. It's allowed me to be kinder to myself, to understand that it's okay to be overwhelmed. It's okay if after being in a social situation I have to be at home in my space, in the quiet, for some time to decompress, because I find it all very overwhelming on every level. But it's just made me feel so much more aware of myself, and I'm so blessed for the internet and other people who shared their stories and research papers that are out there, and all these things, these resources that we have now, that we don't just have to rely on going to the doctor. And I'm so pleased about that, because it's just helped me tenfold. So this is a really personal video, because I haven't actually spoken about this to really anyone, other than I think my husband, obviously, and my son and my dad, and a couple of very close friends, and that's it. So I feel a little nervous about putting it out there, mainly because it's not a formal diagnosis, and you know, there will be people out there who will go, oh yeah, you don't know because you haven't been formally diagnosed. Well, I do know. And I think if you are autistic and you do all the sort of online tests, the ASPE tests and other tests online, and they come out incredibly high, and you watch the videos of people who have been formally diagnosed, and you speak to people who have been formally diagnosed, particularly women, you'll realise that you are actually right, and yes, you are autistic. And also, autism doesn't start with you, it runs in families. And I was thinking, wow, yeah, but there's no autism in my family. And then I found out that actually 2 of my cousins are very likely on the spectrum. My uncle was likely to have been on the spectrum, and one of my cousin's children is actually formally diagnosed as being on the spectrum. So actually there is a lot of autism in my family, in my very close family. So that's just sort of hammered it home to me that all my research and my feelings within myself are 100% correct, and I am autistic, and that's fine, and that's great. I have no problem with being autistic at all. It's just something to be aware of, and it's, like I said, it's helped me learn about myself and learn how I find different things difficult to maybe neurotypical people. So anyway, I would just like to say for anyone out there, particularly women, that even if you are not going down the formal diagnosis route, that there are so many resources out there. So please do loads of research, please watch loads of videos, and there are, super helpful people out there. So yeah, that's it really. It was just a positive video that I wanted to share, saying that yes, I am an autistic woman. There you go.